Well, good afternoon. Just wanted to start off the press conference and saying how proud I am of not just the veteran football players of this football team, but also a bunch of young freshmen that stepped in and had, in my opinion, to be able to play in your third game of your football season and to step in their first opportunities and play the way that they were capable of playing. Very proud of the way that they not only played on Saturday, but they, as a football team, how we prepared Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to get our football team better. So very, very proud of the way they played. The challenge, as I told them last night when we were out there on the football field at Memorial Stadium here, is to learn how to win and to learn how to respond to winning. And those are the things that we need to do as a football team and be ready to play a very, very good football team here on Saturday night in Louisiana Tech.
Coach, talk about the tempo factor this week, because that was the problem you had at Arizona State. It sounded like these guys like to run plays fast.
Very fast. I think they got 101 snaps in against Houston, not quite as many against Rice. They do a tempo type offense. They'll stay in the same formation and run certain plays out of that formation, and then bring in a whole set of new backs and wide receivers. So, it's Coach Dyke's done a great job, and they've got a senior-laden football team that is able to do these things. So we're going to have to respond and keep it as simple as we can and play Illini football.
You try to substitute when they bring in theirs, and do you have time to substitute when they don't?
Well, as soon as they substitute, the officials will stand over the ball and allow the defense to substitute. But the things that we're dealing with is depth, and being able to substitute players in. We're just going to have to continue to do that, and our younger players are going to have to step up and play.
How did Nathan look yesterday?
He was out there, he's progressed about the same, to be honest with you. I mean, I am honest. And then, he's looked good on both Sundays, really. But we're not going to put Nathan out there unless he can better this football team, and he is feeling good about the way he's capable of playing.
A lot of those players that sat out during the Charleston Southern game, did most or all of them practice yesterday?
No.
Simple against La Tech. What do you mean by keep it simple?
What they force you to do with their speed is to limit what you're doing. So that's basically what I meant. You're not going to be able to do a whole bunch of things because you want to make sure that everything that's put in is put in correctly.
Have you run across this? In my time, we have very seldom ever talked about this subject of tempo. I mean, the fact that the other team affects our defense, but with their tempo.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is college football nowadays. I mean, if you look and see what a lot of people are doing, and in the Mid-American, it was things that we did at Toledo. We're building towards it. Right now it's based on the personnel that you have, and that's you're playing a Louisiana Tech team that has been involved with this offense going on their third football season. So I mean they've got some seniors. Their offensive line are all seniors except for one. They've got a wide receiver that's considered one of the tops in the country in a Biletnikoff Award nominee. And a quarterback that did a fairly good job last year when he took over as a starting role. We've got two running backs that are they're both freshmen, but they run the ball extremely hard and extremely well. So, I think that's all the tempo enables you to do as a football coach is enables you to do it based on your seniority on your football team.
Seems like defense has adjusted to the spread with kind of what you do with the 5 defensive backs, but now how do you adjust to the tempo? Are they ahead in that? It seems like defense has always adjusted to the offenses. How has that evolved?
Well, I mean, again, I think in the last 3 football seasons you see it a bunch. You see the speed, the Boise State running their speed offenses, and we've prepared, and like I said, you've been through it. Now you've got to make sure that you know that you can control the speed and you can get what you need in, so that your players understand what's going on.
Evolving back to where it's more of a pound it style. I mean,
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think that being able to use the multiple speeds is what, in essence, is what you would love to be able to do. To look when you need to look, or to run a fast tempoed offense, and then change the speeds, trying to keep the players off balance. I think that's what you ultimately are trying to work towards.
Eventually, someday, you want to get your offense to where you're running this quick?
Oh, no question. No question. I mean, we've got our second string quarterback in right now, and we didn't have a center in. Did not have our tailback in this last game either. So, again, it's limited with the number of guys that you have, and you're going to put in things that you know that you can try to be successful doing.
Jim, are you confident in your defense that with this pace that you guys are on the same page now in terms of getting alignments right?
Sure. Now, that was just 4 plays, and I mentioned that before. I mean, 4 plays did not make that football game. But, yeah, there's no question. It still comes down to tackling, and I think that Louisiana Tech, and watching the 2 football games that they had, I'm figuring it out right now. I don't know how many yards after contact those running backs and wide receivers had, but it was tremendous. They were making a lot of people miss. And, they're third in the country right now in scoring. They've had 14 possessions, and they've scored all 14 possessions for touchdowns. They're number 1, and they've scored 14 touchdowns and 14 possessions. And right now they're number 1 in the red zone in the country for scoring. So they've been very successful in what they've done the last 2 weeks.
Coach, is that red zone scoring 14 possessions in the red zone?
No, not in the red zone. They've had 14 total possessions, and they've scored 14 possessions. I think it's 8 rushing and 6 passing.
I know a lot of the players are kind of fond of the early start because they're not really waiting around that much for a late start like this weekend. Is there anything that you guys are going to do on Saturday to kind of keep their mind off keep them relaxed before they get out there?
No, again, I think it's just we can only control what we can control. The things that we do, on a night football game, are things that that we've experienced throughout the years as being a head football coach and playing night football games. We'll have walkthroughs over here at Memorial Stadium on Saturday. They'll be able to get treatment. So those are the things that we'll do. We'll utilize the same philosophies that we've had with night football games and getting them ready. I think, Lauren,
I don't mean to correct you.
no, it's 14. They have not had to kick a field goal.
Okay, they punted 7 times.
Right. So then they've had 21 possessions. 14 of them they've scored touchdowns. Correct?
Well, they punted twice in the right side.
Okay. They have. All I know is they have not had to kick a field goal. Every time that they've scored through touchdowns.
I know you say you recruit guys to play them, but when did you realize that these linebackers were good enough to play this early?
Well, I think Mason definitely showcased himself throughout 2-a-days and proved to not only the coaching staff but the team that he had the capabilities of being a good linebacker. He jumped in there and started his 3rd football game as a college football player, so that speaks highly about him. D'Angelo Bentley, Justin Hardy, Dami Ayula. I mean, those are 4 guys that ended up playing quite a bit of ball for us this last week that are true freshmen. And as you look at our depth chart, we have some youth there on our depth chart. There's no question about it.
Does that help you recruit down the road? I mean, when you show players that there's immediate playing time?
Sure, I hope so. I mean, if I'm a high school football player, I'd love to go someplace where I know I can play right away and not watch. So, those are things that we, when we're out on the road and we're able to recruit and talk to the young men on phones, those are things we talk about doing, is coming in and being a starter and having that possibility like a Mason Monheim has.
Does the playbook open up now for Riley after how many reps he's got and how much experience he got the other day?
I don't know if it opens up, totally. But, I think the things that Coach Beatty and Coach Gonzalez did with Riley this last week helped our offense move the football. Again, that was not a patch, but we're losing one of our starting center. And I think Jake Feldmeyer came in and did a great job. So it's not just about your quarterback; it's about the whole group. We didn't have Darius Malines for most of the football game either. So, we've got to be able to utilize our personnel and then understand what we're doing for all of us to be successful.
What do you miss the most when you don't have Graham Posick on the offensive line?
Leadership, no question about it. A guy that can look at some young players in the eye and tell them to, get it going. No question about that with Graham and you. But, there's a guy that's played a lot of college football that is not able to play. So he's a very, very good football player and one that we would love to have back there on the field as quickly as we can get him back.
Did Jake make the calls when Hugh's out, or did you move that to Hugh or one of the older guys?
No, Jake did a majority of them because our center makes a lot of our calls, but so does our quarterback. So we kind of mix it up with both of those two.
Did that show some poise from Riley doing that kind of thing? Just the checks on the line and things like that?
Yeah, I think, he improved from the Arizona State game dramatically. I mean, that was his first opportunity to step in the limelight this year, and he's learned, and he did a much better job, I thought, against this last weekend against Charleston Southern than we did against Arizona State.
When Riley's showing this kind of improvement, is it easier to be more cautious with Nate as a result of that?
No, I mean, we're still trying to get this football team to be the best it can be, and we're going to play our 11 best football players. And, we're not being cautious with anybody. He just wasn't ready. And we're not going to put anybody out there that's not ready. So you saw all the guys dressed in shirts and shorts on the sidelines. It's the most that I've ever been around in my entire life. So it's probably a lot. I mean, I know our sheet every morning when we go over, it's got quite a few.
You have enough purple and green jerseys for those guys?
Yeah, we definitely will.
What's the key for the defense other than the tempo? What does Louisiana Tech do?
Tackling and pursuing the football, not making it a one-on-one game. I think we can't have the eye violations that I've been talking about, where we're not reading our key and lose a receiver down the field, or not stay with the receiver through our zone. That happened to us against Arizona State on a couple of those long passes. Plus, we got to stop the run. I mean, this game's still about stopping the run, and we've got to be able to do that to be successful.
Did you give out team MVPs, offensive and defensive, this week?
Yeah, we sure did. This Mason Monheim won it for the defense. For the offense was Ryan Langford, and we really had two for special teams. It was Taylor Zalewski and Tommy Davis.
Players, do you sense a little bit more confidence, especially after a big victory on Saturday?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that anytime you win, you experience, you have a good feeling about yourself. Practice was great again last night, and this team's young, so we're just continuing trying to, get better mentally and physically every time we step out there on the practice field and on the field. So no question.
Do we have any questions from the phone lines for Coach Beckman? Herb, are you out there today?
I am here, but I can't even hardly hear it. It's brutal.
Okay. Don't know what else we can do. We've got to set up just like we always do. So.
Hey, Coach, this is Adam Rittenberg with ESPN.com. I was just wondering if any of the guys who did miss the game Saturday were definitely coming back, and that you could say at this point.
Right now, after having such a short practice on Sunday, Sunday's just a correction. Get the fluids moving in the body. Right now, I can't say that anybody for sure right now. They've had good treatment sessions this morning, and that'll have to be determined as we go through Tuesday and Wednesday.